another edition of Elmira News and Views. Of course, my name is Elmira. We have a special treat for you. This is part three, part trace of our three-part installment of Starving for Peace. Given that you've tuned in to the other two parts, if you have not, make sure you review them on the channel. Just want to give you a snapshot of what we've covered so far. The basis of this story was the Buddhist monks' walk for peace that occurred earlier this year. Well, it culminated at the beginning of this year in February in Washington, D.C. And it sparked something in me. I said, why was everybody on that walk? Why were they cheering on the monks? It's like, do we not have peace? What's going on in America? Why were there so many people out there? And in the midst of the same area that's considered the Bible Belt, you would think, okay, we got Christianity, we got all these people going to church every Sunday. They profess liberty and the pursuit of happiness. Why was everybody so emotional about this walk for peace? That's what we've covered in this series, the fact that we don't really have peace. We've been at war since the inception of this country. And I and my ancestors know this personally. We've been one of the groups that the country has been at war at. My conclusion, I have not stated this in the previous episodes. However, we're prisoners of war. I would say the indigenous population known as black people are technically prisoners of war in this country. No wonder there's been racism, there's been Jim Crow, our cities have been bombed. The list can go on. I grew up in Virginia, I now live in Georgia. And this is all over the country. So the country has to come to grips. And this is not just the country, it's the individuals and then the collective aspect. That's what we covered in part two. This division or the difference between collective spiritualism and individual spiritualism. And if the country does not come to grips with the history of war, how can we have peace? Let me ask that again. If our country does not explicitly come to grips with what we've done, war on the folks, the indigenous people of this land, plus war on people in other countries, in other portions of the world. No wonder we can't have no peace. And we're embarking on 250 years. This year, 2026, celebrates 250 years of the signing of the U.S. Constitution in 1776. We got to ask ourselves, why are we starving for peace? This part three is going to be all about how can we, now I'm going to bring that up too. That's going to be an important word. How can we elevate our peace? Is it simple? Is it challenging? Can it be done maybe with portions of the nations and maybe not so much with others? Well, we're going to hop to it. We got a lot to cover today. Let me start the show. Part three, starving for peace, elevation. This is where we need to go. It's time. It's past time. And it doesn't help the plight of the country if we want and state we're standing on these morals and these particular values and these particular things that were written in the documents, and we're not practicing it. What is that? I know this as a wisdom guide, as a healing practitioner. It don't mean a hill of beans if I say stuff out of my mouth and then I don't do it. That's the problem. We got to get to elevation. The main theme here today in this news story is reflection as America celebrates 250 years. Where are we? Have we ever been a country where we were united? Listen to the name of this country. On paper, it says the United States of America, and we know what that means It means the 50 states. We got Alaska, Hawaii, Wisconsin, New York, Florida, Missouri. We could go on with all the states. Are they truly united? What are we united on? Are we united on war? Are we united on peace? Are we united on fast food? I'm just asking questions. And these are things for you to ponder as well. Get your journal out. Search within yourself. Search within your community. Discuss this with your family. Discuss this with your leaders, your officials. As we celebrate 250 years coming up in July, what makes us united? What do you think? And I reflect back because I heard this in 2001 when 9/11 occurred. People were all so patriotic. But what happened before then? Why does it take war for people to be patriotic or people to support the country? What that says to me is there's a shaky and a false foundation. That's why people ain't supporting it. They're like, this is fake. I don't want to. Yeah, maybe when we getting bombed or there's a threat from somebody else, we're gonna come together. To me, that's traumatic, right? Very traumatic. Our first point here is, has there ever been a we? Consider, reflect, ponder, look at history. You can look at the 1600s, look at the 1700s, the 1800s, the early 1900s, 1940s, 1950s, 1960s. When has there been a we? Or even, who does this we reference? Does it reference white males? Does it reference immigrants? Does it reference white females? Does it reference all men? Does it reference people from the north, people from the south? I mean, you got to really understand this. Who is this we in the we, the people? And when I talk to Juniper, I keep bringing her up in this particular series because she provided a lot of context. She said, "When have we ever been a we? Or have we?" You got to ask yourself and be honest. This is no time for the illusions of, oh yeah, we because we all get to go to a job and we all get to live where we want to live. And now, is that true? Tell me, is that really, really true? Maybe a percentage of the population is capable of this. And the American dream is alive. You saw that in part two, there are pros and cons. Let's look at this first article, The American Collectivist Myth. And the source for this is Hillsdale College. One grand thing about this article you should notice, it was written in 1982. What is the significance of 1982 before we get into this article? Ronald Reagan was president. The country was experiencing a severe recession. There was something called, I didn't know about this, there was something called the Chicago Tylenol murders, where these bottles of Tylenol were laced with something and people died. Also significant that year, AT&T dissolved. They split their company up. We heard there was another news story I did about the 1996 Communications Act, but 1982 was another monumental moment in communications. And then pop culture, Thriller, and E.T. I'll actually be linking a video below this from Recollection Road, which gives you a wide overview of 1982. There have been decisive moments in our history, formative periods with a potent influence on our national character. The period of the Revolutionary War was our subsequent founding as a nation was one such period. So here we go. The we after a war. It was then that the founding fathers charted our national path towards limited government, the dignity of free men, and the marvelous prosperity we have enjoyed in this country. It is my contention that the early 20th century was another such formative period. Unfortunately, the path charted in the early years of this century favored the collective over the individual, redirecting America on an increasingly hazardous path as the century progressed. I also believe that the American people are now entering yet another critical moment, which will have a profound effect on our future. The fate of our nation hangs in the balance, depending upon how the critical moment will be decided. This is what the president at Hillsdale College is proposing in this article. What is happening in 1982? Based on what occurred during the Revolutionary War, during the start of the 20th century. From this 80-year perspective, no feature stands out more starkly and unarguably than the grim fact that decade by decade since 1900, life in America has become more and more collectively organized at an ever accelerating pace. Worse yet, the period of increasing collectivization has also been a period of increasing disorder. Coming together, but chaos. Sound familiar? Now, finally, there are signs that a corner of some kind may have been turned. Freedom and the individual are making themselves heard again. The collectivist consensus indeed is breaking up, but no one can yet say what new system of ideas will replace it in coming decades. Let's find out what he concludes here. And then, of course, the article will be linked in the resources. You can read the entire thing for yourself. How decisive was 1980? None of this is meant to cast personal aspersions on specific presidents of either party or on the generally sincere and able executives, legislators, and judges who have served with them in government down through the 8 decades of collectivist era. So he's stating that a lot of, well, I know he's stating two, for and against the points in some of this write up. I'm simply identifying a pattern of political continuity, a kind of inertial momentum in the policy process, which is virtually inevitable once the reigning myth is in place and as long as it remains in place. Okay, now this is for you to decide. Is there a collectivism? Does America operate on this collective? Meaning the majority of the people believe one thing, we're all going in the same direction? Or would you say that for the most part, America is separate? You have these groups over here and everybody's kind of doing their own thing. It's up to you to decide. Or like he's mentioning in the article, are there times when the nation is more on one page and then times when they're not on the same page at all? That's what disturbs the peace. Don't disturb this groove. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. I'm so into you. See, y'all get music with the news over here. I don't know why that song came, but that's what it is. Sometimes you gotta say, "Don't disturb this groove." Let's get back to it, because I have another article to show you in terms of asking the question, has there ever been a we? Why Americans have always been divided. This is from VOA News. Here's why Americans have always been divided, written by Dora Mekawar. This was released July 4th, 2020. Okay, another July 4th. We got 2026 July 4th coming up, 250. What you see here is a flag, Black Lives Matter in DC in June. Americans mark this Independence Day during a time of turmoil in the United States. While many debate whether to wear a mask in public, the COVID-19 pandemic is surging in most U.S. states. Outraged Black Lives Matter protesters have taken to the streets after the death of George Floyd while in police custody. A staggering 42.6 million people have filed for unemployment benefits. So 2020, another recession, just like 1982. During the pandemic, the existing political divisiveness that was heightened by the 2016 election of presidential Donald Trump. Okay, it seemed like we live in the same thing 10 years later, 2016, 2026. That's why it's important from a spiritual sense to do your healing work, because things do spiral, they do repeat, but these patterns come to elevate you. They come to take you to another level. So don't just think, oh, 2026 is another repeat of 2016. It may be, and that depends on how you view it. How do you interact with the year? How do you interact with the same type of situation? We see here in 2020, we had Black Lives Matter. 2026, we have ICE. Are you the same person today that you were back then? Your answer should be no. You should have elevated. That's what this is about. You should have gone to a different level. If you're still operating in this divisiveness, no wonder we ain't got no we. Cause you still, oh, this one said this, the Democrats did this, the Republicans did this, Donald Trump did this, Kamala Harris did this, the Clintons did this. Just be on the side of truth. Just be on the side of peace. Just be on the side of love. My gosh, why can't we? I don't know why, Rodney King, why can't we all just get along? The myth of unity. America has always been divided. I think the myth of a unified country is a myth. American beliefs have been contested ground from the start. Gitland says, I mean, pick a moment in history when we have always not been deeply divided. In her 244-year history, coming up on 250, the U.S. has endured deep divisions between its political parties and over industrialization, the Civil War, immigration in the late 1800s, women's suffrage, whether to enter the First and Second World Wars, civil rights, anti-war protests in the 60s, gay rights, abortion rights, and numerous other battles. I ain't see them mention nothing for the indigenous, quote unquote, FBA black, foundational black people in this. Yeah, that's probably been the most division ever. When have we not been deeply divided? Look at this. One reason for that disunity could be found at the very foundation of America, a melting pot of people who did not share a common origin story. That's like trying to put a soup together with ingredients that don't match. You're going to end up with a stomach ache. You're going to be like that soup that Beyonce's mama, Miss Tina Knowles, served the people recently. I don't know why this is coming up, but it all relates. It's a stinky pot. If the pot is dirty or if the ingredients don't mesh, it ain't going to be right. Common beliefs. America's identity comes through the common beliefs laid out in the Declaration of Independence, which is celebrated on the 4th of July, and using the holiday to air out one's grievances is not uncommon. People in the country who have felt marginalized or oppressed or cut off of the American dream have always used the 4th of July as an occasion to claim their membership in the nation, to claim their freedom and liberty and their equality with others, says Timothy Shannon, professor of history at Gettysburg College. Founding Fathers' ideals. In praising the nation's founders' ideals of freedom, the former slave turned prominent activists pointed out the hypocrisy of their ideals due to the existence of slavery. Yeah, what's up with this? We got POWs, we got slavery, we got Jim Crow, we got all kinds of things. We just got so much going on, and it's in the contract. The Constitution itself is a contract. Somebody who really knows would know some of this stuff ain't even to this day. People don't have the rights they think they do. You got to read the paperwork. And to me, that's the silly thing. And that's the myth of America. The myth of this collectivism is how can you be united when they lying on the paperwork? Like, seriously. That's like my mama and daddy lied on my paperwork, said I wasn't really their child. I'm somebody else. Now, people gone through that. People believed for years and years and years that somebody else was their parents. And they got to deal with the grief after knowing this. This is what this is about. The grief of you've been sold a story, you've been sold a lie, as many people in this country, whether you are considered quote unquote black, whether you're a woman, you're an immigrant, you're whoever you are. And then you thinking you got one thing on paper, but really you don't. You've been sold a lie and in times out for the lie. In the 1960s, we saw protesters marching in the streets and people boycotting racist companies, says Jamie Goodall, a staff historian at the U.S. Army Center of Military History in Washington and a former assistant professor of history at Stevenson's University in Baltimore, in an email sent to VOA. Today, we have protesters taken to the streets and individuals choosing to purchase from black owned companies, boycotting companies that contribute to racist and bigoted causes. We can look to these protesters as a sign of American resilience in the face of adversity. They're carrying the torch of their predecessors, continuing the fight for freedom and equality. I'll end it right there and you can read the rest of the article. That's the thing. For the most part, we do have freedom and the access to equality in this country, but do all people have freedom? Can all people achieve peace? Look at the history of this country. Look at where it is currently. How can we elevate that for all? And you might say, oh, that's not my responsibility. Part of the American dream is individualism. Let them go and get theirs. Yes, that might be true because some people may say, I don't want that. I don't want to put in the extra time or the extra effort to help my fellow man. But if that's part of your soul mission and you're one of those empathetic individuals who says, I want to do better. I want to do better for this country. I'm here on this earth in this time to do better. Then you got to elevate. Part of that elevation is understanding the truth, understanding what has occurred, because so many people want to hide the truth and say, oh, that doesn't matter. Oh, what happened back in 1843 don't matter. Oh, what happened back in the 1400s? Yes, it does. That's the foundation of the country. That's the foundation of the country's conflict with other nations in the world. You got to get honest. Get honest with yourself. How are you supporting being apathetic, any of this? And I'm calling myself out too, because there's been I can say this, I'm not a voter. Politics is not my arena. The way I'm helping this starving for peace, I'm helping to elevate peace, is by healing. I'm doing it with this news story, making you aware. I love making you aware of what's going on and putting the onus back on you, because this is about you. This is about what action will you take. That's my role. Thing is, know your role. My role is not politics. And people, y'all can come down on me and say, Elmira, why haven't you voted? I sure haven't. I think the last time I voted was '08. Mm-hmm. It was. '08 was the last time I voted, and I just don't vote because I understand the system. Oh, but your ancestor fought, Elmira. You should. Blah, 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 blah. Y'all know what the truth is. Like the electoral college, and I could go on, but that's not what this topic is about today. Do your own due diligence. Whatever your soul mission is, God called you for something great. You can elevate peace in your own way. Just like Frank Sinatra in his song, I did it my way. Everybody has their part to play. And to me, that's what the collective we is about. It doesn't necessarily mean everybody is on the same page. It means we're working towards the same goal. And sometimes that's division, because even in my family, there's division. People don't agree. It's okay to not agree. But if we're all going in the same direction, that's what matters. That's point one. Point two, there are mixed emotions around the big anniversary. America's 250th birthday causes headaches for California teachers. Let's see how this is affecting the teachers in California and what they teach. This is an article from the Desert Review, Imperial Valley news that matters to you. Ooh, that rings. The Desert Review, Imperial Valley matters, news that matters to you. Ooh, ooh. Article written by Marissa Kendall and March 11th. Oh, so this came out recently, just about a week ago. Let's see. This was originally published by Cal Matters. America is turning 250 this year. For California students, this milestone, 4th of July, will be about more than fireworks and backyard barbecues. It will be a time to learn something about how their government works. For decades, civics education had been sidelined in California schools, largely due to an intense focus of reading and math brought forth by the No Child Left Behind. Oh, I remember that No Child Left Behind. And there ended up being so many children left behind. Dang, bureaucracy, I tell you. Largely due to the intense focus on reading and math. Okay, my reading is all, but efforts are underway at the state and local levels to change that by holding schools accountable for teaching civics and introducing new lessons centered on the country's birthday. This is incredible to me because when I was in school, we took civics in Virginia. Yeah, but shoot, I was in school before 2000. I graduated in 1996. So in the 80s and the 90s, there won't no child left behind. The idea is to inspire students to get involved, become regular voters, or even run for public office. But it's not always that simple. In the past year, policy shifts at the federal level have led to some confusion as to what constitutes civics. Everybody got to fight over everything. What patriotism is, see, where's the collective we? And even what are the foundational principles of the country? How, okay, riddle me this. So they even arguing over what to teach. And like, is it not clear? It's like you got a constitution, you got a Declaration of Independence. What's so unclear about that? People are making stuff so difficult. It could all be so simple, but you rather make it hard. Though civics education is traditionally nonpartisan, President Donald Trump's administration has steered funding to right leaning organizations. Okay, see, here lies the issue with peace. You can't establish no peace when the education, what's being taught, is highly influenced by conservatism or liberalism, and we see it on both ends. So to me, there must be a balance. We can't say all or none. Oh, we only going to teach this way, or we only going to, this is so ridiculous. California teachers tread lightly for America's 250 as they navigate competing narratives. The national political climate may be polarized and combative, but California is taking steps to ensure K through 12 students learn to have respectful debates, get involved in their communities, and understand their rights. Now, that's a phenomenal thing. The State Board of Education is poised on March 11 to add civics to the California School Dashboard, the primary accountability tool for the state's public K through 12 system. The aim is to encourage more students to excel in their government classes, show a strong understanding of the Constitution and the foundations of democracy. I got a question. Could the country no longer be a democracy? We ask questions over here. Could the people protest? Could there be an uprising? Should there be an uprising? What do you think? What do you feel? What do the youth feel? What does Generation X, Generation Z, Generation Y, Generation Millennial, the baby boomers, and so on? What are we going to do as the future of this country? Something that has to be taught. The moves couldn't come at a better time, advocates said. The issue is urgent. There's a lot of concern right now about the state of democracy and the role of schools. Yeah, heck yeah, it is. Because was democracy or is democracy something that is stable, something that is sustainable without war? Questions for you. Who's responsible for making sure the next generation upholds democracy? It's not in the air. It's something that has to be taught, and schools have to teach it. Boosting accountability is another topic here. Competing curriculum, we touched on that a bit. Giving students a voice, free speech, and open inquiry, a personal quest. Take the time to read this article on your own. Because what's going on, yeah, that's California, but what's happening in your state? What's happening in your school district? Do you know? Maybe your school board is deciding on something and you don't even know about it. Go check. Check with your son, check with your daughter, check with your county, your city, your town. Find out what's going on. Because that's how we got to here today. That's how we got to 2026. A lot of it was placed in the school system for us to learn. That's why I had to unlearn so much, y'all. Because I learned the wrong thing. I just got to shake my head on that one. Got to shake my head. Okay, here's the other article regarding mixed emotions. A rare opportunity for unity, published by the City Journal. With the nation's 250th anniversary approaching, can Americans find enough common ground to overcome their polarization? Because they're already giving us the premise that we're highly polarized. In 1822, pioneers in western Indiana named their new community in honor of General Richard Montgomery, who was killed leading Continental Army troops in the December 1775 attack on Quebec. 2 centuries later, the people of Montgomery County are still thinking about the revolution. On a warm evening last September, several dozen residents gathered in Crawfordsville Carnegie Library to discuss the Declaration of Independence and how their community might mark the document's 250th anniversary. So it was wrong. I was saying 250 years for the Constitution, but really, technically, it's the Declaration of Independence. The two definitely coincide and are linked with one another. Though the participants' political leaning differed, the conversations were civil and productive. They found common ground in celebrating America's founding ideals and the ongoing work of realizing them. Planning to mark the 250 formally commenced in 2016 when Congress established the U.S. Semi-Quincentennial, say that word, Semi-Quincentennial Commission, now known as America 250, chaired by Rosie Rios, former U.S. Treasurer under President Barack Obama. The commission includes members of Congress, cabinet secretaries, and private citizens. Though initially intended to run on private funding, the project has since received federal support, including $150 million in the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, signed by President Donald Trump on July 4, 2025. Let's read on. In keeping with his administration's intention to revive neoclassical architecture among federal buildings in the Capitol, Trump has also proposed the creation of an Independence Arch. A sketch of the arch prepared by Harrison Design, posted by Trump and seen in a 3D model on the Resolute desk, is inspired by Paris's Arc de Triomphe and the Soldiers and Sailors Memorial Arch in Brooklyn. Oh, so there's going to be a new structure in DC, maybe? I've actually heard, and you can do your own research. I've heard the capital has officially been moved some point last year or in 2024. It's technically in Colorado now. Look that up. Look that up for yourself. But what this is saying is they were able to come to an agreement about how the okay, so this is a 3D model of how the structure looks. Come to agreement about how to do the celebration. Now, check this. Will all this war we have been experiencing affect negatively, positively this celebration, this 250-year celebration? That's for you. That's for you to say. Are you still going to do everything that you did? Are you going to protest? Are you going to say down with America? Are you going to say yes, thank you, America, because you've given so much to us over these 250 years? You have to be the deciding factor. How will you elevate your peace? Will you do things for the good of the collective, even though you may only support it 65%? Say, hey, 65% better than 10%, right? Sometimes we got to go with the group and not be so selfish, our own selfish interests. There have been many times my family, y'all know I got 5 siblings. They wanted to do something or I've been on a group trip. Oh my goodness, how many church group trips was I on? And I didn't want to go to all the stuff they went to, but I did it because it was for the good of the group. That's as we celebrate 250 years, sometimes maintaining the peace and elevating as a community, elevating as a country, elevating in the state that you live in, elevating even in your neighborhood is you saying, you know what? I may not 100% agree with everything that's going on, everything that my HOA want to improve, everything that my family want to do. Cause shoot, I don't want to have ham for Easter dinner. I want to eat fish. I'm just giving an example so you can see where this comes into play. You may have to give up some of your personal interests for the good of the nation, for the good of where the nation is going, and then fight those battles. Of course, fight the battles. Continue to fight the political battles, all on every front. The educational battles, the marriage battles, whatever you've been called to do. But don't let your indiscretions, your ego, get in the way of you supporting something that has actually benefited you. Hmm, that's a word for me right there. Because I can be a little militant at times and say, I don't want to do it. I'm stubborn. I don't want to do none of this. I ain't participating. Participate because people need your love. People need your peace. People need your intelligence. They need your experience. They need your energy. Not to thief from your energy, but your positivity. You're that one who can change. We always hear about the one bad apple that spoils the bunch. I have a different philosophy. One good apple elevates the bunch. You can go to that event, the 250-year celebration, and your shining light will be the guiding light by you just being there, your presence being there. You ain't even got to say a word. You ain't got to agree with everything that's said. Just show up. Just show up as your healed and fruitful self. That was point two. All the mixed emotions surrounding the big anniversary. You know we live in a country that's full of all different kinds of people, religions, races, genders. I mean, you can go on people who've been here since the inception, like before the country was written on paper. We got people who came after. We got people who came in the 1800s, some who came in the 1940s, 50s, 60s, so on, from this country, that country. No wonder there's mixed emotions, but what are you going to do about it? That was point two. Point three is this: you have a personal responsibility to elevate peace. Where does that begin? It begins with your own healing. This was something I became aware of consciously I would say 20 years ago. Really. I was about to enter massage school. I read Kevin Trudeau's, this was 2006. I read Kevin Trudeau's Natural Cures They Don't Want You to Know About. And that started my journey, this path of self discovery, self responsibility, self care, self everything. And eventually I enrolled in massage school, graduated in '08, realized I needed to forgive my dad because without internal peace, how can I have peace in the world? How can I told myself, how can I put my hands on these clients if I don't even have peace in my heart? So we have a responsibility to prevent the stress, but it starts with us. I want to show you this video that I recorded back in 2009. It's going to, I don't know, it may shock some of you because it did shock me. Look at me. Look at 2009 version of Elmira. I have changed so much. I will say you should agree with me too. I'm not telling you what to do, but because of my dedication to healing, I actually look younger than I did then. This was 2009, 17 years ago. The cool thing is, I was still on this path. I had just started my business, still talking about the same stuff I'm talking. I've just only elevated. Before we get into watching this video, I want to tell you something. Oh,
Hi,
wait, pause.
everyone.
Pause.
We are back and we are.
Why you don't want to pause for me? Okay. I want to say this. You got two Elmiras. Look back at your life, your 2009, your 2019, your 2011. I do this thing called reflection. Reflection is a part of your healing process, a part of you maintaining your peace because it helps you see your patterns. It helps you become aware of where you've come from. Are you continuously repeating the same thing over, or are you elevating? I can say I've elevated. Look at this. I can say, look at me now. Yes, I was doing a lot of the same things, reading the books. You can see in the background, I got all these books back there. Always been an avid reader. Now I'm just doing so much better because I've become more of who I'm supposed to be. This is about how to prevent stress. Let's get into it.
Hi, everyone. We are back and we are going to discuss today 5 ways of preventing stress. The first one is to plan ahead, and what this kind of involves is making a plan for your life. This will eliminate how you invite stress into your life. So, this includes making a list of daily, weekly, yearly. Make that 5 year plan, make that 2 year plan, make that 10 year plan so that you know what kind of things and tasks that you take on pretty much align with your goals. So simply plan ahead and have a clear understanding of what you can and cannot do, because a lot of times what invites stress into your life is taking on those responsibilities that you can't handle or that you really don't want to do. So that's number one, plan.
Okay, I gotta say this. True. Listen to your elevation, because I'm looking at my elevation, because this is what this particular segment is about. I'm so thankful and grateful I committed to my own healing and cleaning up the junk. That's how, look at this image. Like, y'all, yes, that's me, but it's hard to believe that's me because I'm even speaking differently. Okay, take responsibility, plan ahead. You can say, oh, yeah, we got 250 years coming up, or this is occurring, all this war on the outside. What's your plan? What's your designation? What are you building? You cannot complain at the end of this year if you did not make a commitment to do better, a commitment to be a better leader at your church, to be a better leader for your children. You got to make a plan. Self responsibility. Let's see what number two is.
Ahead. Number two, you need to change your mindset. If you're one of those people, one of those non dreamers that think you can't accomplish anything, change your mindset into some more positivity and become aware that you can accomplish your dreams, because yes, it may be difficult and challenging, and the people around you may be telling you, oh, you can't do that. Are you serious? You think you're going to quit your job? You think you're going to be able to be a stay at home mom? You think your husband is going to gross over $500,000 a year? Yes, it's possible. If you believe and if you have faith and if you change your mindset and that's all you think about is going for those positive things, then it will happen. If you haven't read The Secret, which is simply about the law of attraction, and I'll tell you it's pretty much not a secret, then you must read it. It's in book form and also a motion picture. So get that, change your mindset, do things that will clear your mind, that will give you positive thought. Involve yourself in some type of spiritual activity, whether it's meditation, attending church, reading your Bible, the Quran, whatever it may be for you that's going to get you in tune with your spiritual self and clear your mind of all the clutter. And that's number two, changing.
Yeah, you got to shift your mindset. Get in reflection. How have you elevated your mindset? Are you maybe dissatisfied that you haven't? You still have the same mindset you did 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Shift it. You can do it easily today. One of the tips in this I just stated was 2009 version of Elmira stated was look at The Secret. And you might say, oh, that's hogwash or this has been proven to whatever. My thing is when you watch anything, if you can pick up one element to apply in your life, to integrate in your life, it's worth it. Mindset is everything because it predicates how you see the world. Do you see us being able to be a peaceful world? Or are you the one that says, oh, let me just give up? War is inevitable. I'm never going to do anything. I'm never going to build anything. We're damned. Revelations is coming true. That might be accurate. However, what are you going to do with your mindset? It is a set. What's your frequency? What's your temperature set at?
Your mindset, making it possible that you believe that you can do these things, and looking at the big picture and realizing that these little petty things that are causing you so much stress, headaches, etc., will not matter 5 years from now. So, really change your mindset and start thinking about the things that are higher than yourself. Number three way to prevent stress in your life is to clean up your emotional space. What I mean by this is pretty much letting go of those things that are causing you hate, and it could be things from your past. Very well, it is things from your past. People that have hurt you, people that have broken your heart, people that have disappointed you. Let go of those things, let go of those situations. Be willing to move on. And I know it's a huge step. It was a huge step for me to move on past some situations in my own life, but I made it happen. I made a decision. I changed my mindset and said, it's time for me to get rid of these, feelings of unforgiveness, because what that only leads to is some type of heart condition, because the longer you don't forgive people, you're holding on to those feelings. That person who hurt or harmed you, they've let go a long time ago, and what are you doing? You're still holding on to that pain, and it's affecting you more than the pain that the person put on you when the event originally happened. So clean up your emotional space. Be willing to clear your mind and your heart of those things that are not doing you any good. Number four, clean up your
Ooh, mm-mm-mm. That's all about forgiveness. That's been the majority of my work the past 5 years, I should say, teaching people how to overcome heartbreak, maintaining your peace. You got to clean up what's in there. That's what I did. I did it through Queen of Fu, a Sacred Woman. How have you accomplished it? How do you even plan to clean up your emotional space even more? One of the things I've been doing this week is 5 minutes of fire breathing. Breathing. Oh my goodness. Fire breaths are so critical for releasing things energetically, spiritually. You have to decide. Prevent stress. Make a plan. Clean up your emotional space. Oh, another thing. I was playing some jazz in the background. I believe it's John Coltrane. It reminds me of a Spike Lee movie, right? I'm like over here thinking, oh, that sounds like Spike Lee. Oh, let me get back to the big screen.
physical space. Basically, declutter your home, your living space, your office space. Get rid of those piles of paper, those piles of clothes, those shoes that you haven't worn in 2 seasons. Let them go, because what's happening with those things, that clutter, is trapping in the positive energy and not allowing the energy to flow in your space. And if you know anything about energy, in order for there to be a positive light, there needs to be a free flow. Also involved with cleaning up your physical space is getting your finances in order. That's something that I've committed to this year. I'm actually going to be moving back home. Is something that I don't want to do, but it's a huge sacrifice, and it's going to help me, reduce my debts, basically eliminate my credit card debt. And you just have to be willing to take that step to clean up your physical space. Get the finances in order. Lose weight if that's something that you want to do. If you don't like the way your butt looks, you don't like that bulge on your tummy, then do something about it. Be willing to commit to cleaning up your physical space. You will feel better because of it, and prevent a lot of stress from entering into your life. The fifth way, and finally, is basically to
All right. Clean up your physical space. I've been doing a lot of that myself. Past several weeks, I got rid of some dresses that no longer suit me because I've elevated. what else did I do? Oh, this video is reminding me because earlier that year in 2009, I cut my locks. It was the previous year, those of you who know me and have followed me for a while, was my breakup. It was time to let those locks go. I had those locks for what, 8 years? 7 or 8 years. And it was time to release this part of the physical release. You, in order to invite in, I said it there, 2009, Elmira said it, in order to invite in new things to elevate your peace, to elevate your abundance, love, because all of this stuff is linked. You got to clean up your space. I wrote a song called Cleaning Up My Space, Putting Everything Away, Cleaning Up My Space today. I start in the kitchen and I clean the counters, cleaning up my space today. It takes effort. It requires you to say, I'm no longer in this space. I've jumped timelines. This is no longer me. I want more peace. Yeah, I used to believe that. Yeah, I used to be this divisive where I felt I needed all these things to be one with myself, to be connected to God. But maybe in this moment in time, I don't need these physical things. I'm going to let it go. That helps you prevent stress. That helps you restore your peace.
Commit to happiness. Okay, we all want to be happy. We desire happiness. We know that it's something that we can achieve, but some of us just don't believe that we're worthy of it. Believe me, you are worthy of happiness. And understand too that your happiness is not going to be my happiness. Maybe your happiness is defined by obtaining a nice home, with your spouse, 3 children, and living on a farm in South Dakota, something like that. If that's what makes you happy, that's what you should be doing. For somebody else, that happiness may be achieved by owning their own business and being able to net $80,000 in a year. So that happiness is going to be personal, and you need to be willing to go after whatever makes you happy, no matter how minute you think it is or minute somebody else thinks it is. You are the only one who has control over your happiness, and until you claim it, you are going to continue to invite stress into your life. I'm trying to help you prevent the stress. So, in order to do that, you need to create a life for yourself that involves those things that make you happy. So, you're going to have to plan to do those things that make you happy. Set out, if it's fishing that you like or dancing that you like, say once a week. Every Friday, I'm going fishing. I'm going dancing. Set it out. Surround yourself by those people that are going to, allow you to be happy. Not those people that are going to, add negativity and pessimism to your life. Get the positivity and the happiness going on in your life. I know you can do it. And if you want to have a good example of what true happiness is, look at the movie Pursuit of Happiness if you did not see it yet. Stars Will Smith. It's just a good depiction of one man's quest to find happiness. So those are just my 5 ways to prevent stress. And what you need to be doing is committed to doing these things in your life. Maybe you want to pick one, maybe you want to try to do all 5. My suggestion is to pick one, because otherwise you're likely to fail. So next time we're going to talk about managing stress. Like, once stress comes into your life, how do you handle it? How do you cope? So thank you again, and goodbye.
I gotta laugh at that because it's fun, it's delightful, it's enlightening to witness my path. It should be the same for you too, to look at from whence you came When you commit to taking responsibility, when you commit to taking accountability for your elevation, for your spiritual climb, it will show. It will show in your body, it will show in your skin, it will show in your results, the people you attract, the opportunities you attract. I love it. I love watching that. And that was the committing to happiness. That's what I was doing. You heard me discuss, I moved back in with my mom at that time. Yes, 2009. And then I stayed there until 2011 when I moved solo to Nashville. Moving to Nashville was the best decision of my life because it was led by happiness. It was led by my desire for growth, for healing, for elevation, to go higher. My highest self wanted more. I wasn't meant to stay here. You're not meant to stay here. You're not meant to be in survival mode all the time, always starving for peace, not living your truest calling. You're greater than that. You're better than that. Live it. The way we live that is by going within. Make sure your food is right. Your organs are right. It might be time for you to do a detox. I've been actually implementing some of that recently because I'm always looking for ways to go higher, ways to elevate, because what I accomplished yesterday is not enough. It's not to say, "Oh, I'm never satisfied." No. I know there's more. I know my responsibility to the collective, my mission, heal the entire world with hearts and hands. I can't do that only with the capacity to hold two people. No, I'm impacting the world, and I know if you're watching this, you're one of those world changers as well. You are that. You live that. You be that. You know? We always end with a quote. Most of the time. I won't say always. Wait. Peace is not something you wish for. It is something you make. Something you are, something you do, and something you give away. This is a quote by Robert Fulghum. Our series was about this. We can't just wish for peace and say, oh, somebody else is going to take charge of it. It's going to be the president. I'm going to leave it to my children. I'm too old. Ain't no way I can accomplish anything. No, you got to make peace. You got to be peace. You got to live peace. You got to do peace. Because when it exists within you, it just permeates out. And you might say, oh, I live alone. I don't know what to do. I never see anybody. Or the people at work, they act this way. The people in my life act this way. No, you can send peace energetically. People feel the love. Plus, get in the company of those who want to spread this, those who want to create the love energy, who want to create peace energy. There's so many opportunities today. Online, Eventbrite, Meetup. I've found them. I actually lead some of these things. Get in something, some of the things I do. Support your people. Get on Insight Timer. There's opportunities. You don't no longer have to say, I wish things were different. Make the difference. That's one of the beautiful things as we approach the 250 years. Yes, there's stories of, oh, maybe America hasn't upheld the dream, but there's many more stories of how we have. What have we done? You can create peace. You might have, like Juniper, I bring her up again. She's created a business, a movement called Pause for Peace that's all about this. Support her. Support her vision. Refer her to people. Tell other people about her. Deep breath in, out, in, out. Let out some sound. Ah. That's how we activate peace. This has been Starving for Peace, our three-part series on news and views. We will see you next time with another pop-in news story.